Hey y'all. So, I just got a message to share. Well, I just want to talk about something. So, last night I was watching a case, and I remember seeing this girl face, but I never knew what she was, on the news for. And it was this young girl. I think she was about 17. She was 17 years old. Um, she wanted to go get her hair done in another town, a neighboring town, about 20 minutes away. And her mother had gave her money to go get her hair done. And she had stopped at the gas station. And when she stopped at the gas station, a guy, um, a guy, a older guy, a much older guy, opened the door for her. He had a tattoo of Daffy Duck on his neck, and um, next thing you know, this woman was missing. Nobody knew where she was. This young girl, this 17-year-old girl, nobody knew where she had went. And when they looked at the surveillance cameras of that store, that was like the kind of the only interaction that she had with anybody was that man who opened that door for her. And so when they looked at the other cameras that were facing outside, they saw that she got in her car, and that guy who opened the door for her, he had a distinctive car himself. It had like camouflage on the outside of it, and it showed his car leaving as well as her car leaving right behind him. When they went and questioned him about her, he said that young girl and an African American male with dreadlocks had came and tried to buy drugs from him, and that at the end of the day she left with the guy with the dreads. So the police decided to investigate him and investigate this guy with the dreads. The guy with the dreads, he was they searched him out and ruled him out, okay? But they end up finding her phone on that man's property, her press-on nails in that property, her earring in that property, and a shirt that she was wearing that had blood on it in that property. Her family was all looking for her and searching for her. Her car was somebody dropped it off in a vacant parking lot. They had the surveillance to it, but because it was nighttime, it was too grainy and they couldn't figure out who it was. But somebody dropped their car off. So I've just been thinking about this girl and just asking God, like, man, what happened to her? Like, what really happened to her? I believe what happened to her is that she followed him to his house. I don't know what the interaction was, why. I don't know if she needed directions and he just led her back to his house, or what. Or maybe she was going to buy something from him. I don't know. Like, the whole reason why she was even in that town was to get her hair done. So I don't know what the deal was. But either way, he lowered her into where he lived and he killed her. And he had another case pending against him that hasn't been resolved yet. But I just feel so bad for the family. I feel so bad for the family, like really. That literally could have been anybody. So many black girls go and get their hair done. And she went to go get her hair done and never came back. But that guy, he did end up going to jail. Thank God. Even though they never found her body, he did go to jail. And he got 2 life sentences. And he did do it. Because you know how I know, and we know, who knows her story, is because when he got those 2 life sentences, he came back and he said, I'll tell you where the body is if you just give me 20 years in prison, and that's it. And thank God they did not take that. They did not take it. They said, you know what? We know she's gone. That's it. In the story, but we gonna make sure that you pay for what you did, because 20 years for what he did is just ain't enough. But I just feel so bad for the family though. Who would have thought that would, that would happen? And I'm sure, she didn't feel, threatened by him, thinking he would do anything. And he ended up taking her life. I don't remember the young girl's name. She's an African American, 17 years old. And she was just going to get her hair done. So you can definitely find it here on YouTube. I looked at the story just last night. So pray for her family, for them to just get peace. Because I can only imagine like how they feel. That young girl had the rest of her life ahead of her. And it was cut short in one day. Whew. All right, y'all. Y'all stay safe. Stay safe. Because it is some crazy people out there who are willing to who got some sick thoughts in their head. Not to mention that guy, he was looking at pornography. Before he had went to that parking lot, he had picked up 2 pornographic tapes that day. He picked up 2 of them. So, and when they went inside of his trailer that he lived in, he had pornographic pictures with the faces cut out, and he replaced the faces with people that he knew, and one of them was his co-worker's daughter. So they do believe that it was a sexually motivated crime that took place. So and not to mention, the people around there knew who he was, because they said that he would come to that gas station and he would park his car in the parking lot in the back and just people watch. So he probably was already processing that he was going to do this, and she was, the victim, and she wasn't the first one. So pray for your nations, Pray for your state. Pray for your community. Pray for your neighbors. You never know what people are thinking inside of their heads. You don't know what they're planning to do. Even myself, I was almost a victim, but I believe because of the prayers of the righteous people, I believe I was saved. I was on a trail, on a walking trail, looking for an area actually to go pray. I was going to go pray. I love praying near water. I love praying in the woods. And somebody saw me and he put his car in front of me. He looked at me for about 5 seconds straight. He just looked at me in his car, looking at me. And then he decided to drive off. And that was nothing but the prayers of the righteous that saved me that day. So please pray for your nations. Pray for your communities. Pray for your neighbors. Pray for your family. You don't know who is out there and what they're planning to do. But you can intervene through your prayers. Prayer works. There's a lot of people out there that say prayer don't work. Why? Because they don't follow the true and living God. So he probably don't even hear them. They're probably separated from God because of the lifestyle they live and the behaviors that they take part in, which would separate them from God to the point where he cannot hear them. That's why prayer doesn't work for them. But if you follow Jesus Christ wholeheartedly, truly, he will hear your prayers and he will intervene. All right, y'all. I'm out. Thanks for listening.